Right now, we're going to welcome in LFA 36's Christian the Beast Aguilera. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Heard you're out for a little morning run today?
Yeah, nice day on a Sunday. I'm out Dana Point at a tournament, so got an hour to kill. Might as well get some work in.
What are you out doing today?
There's a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I'm coaching a couple people out in Dana Point.
Oh, nice. Fun stuff. How are you feeling? I mean, as we sit here talking, we're, 5 days out from fight night?
Yes, sir. 5 days.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited. Just can't wait to get in the cage, man. I love fighting, so it's like Christmas coming up.
It's the payoff for all the hard work of the fight camp?
Yeah, man. Put in, this is going to be like a 3-week camp. We took it kind of short notice, but we had 2 other camps before this, so yeah, so we get to finally show off a little bit of a little bit of improvements we were able to make in those 3 weeks, so I'm excited, man.
Is the goal for you 12 fights? There's 12 months in the year. Right now, it seems like you're fighting once a month.
I don't know, man. I got to see what my coaches want to think, but as long as the fights keep going this way, then, yeah, there's no reason why we couldn't fight every month. I'm healthy. I'm ready. Might as well strike with the iron's hot, you know?
Tell us about that. Do you feel that there's something different? Have some changes paid off? Has something changed from these last 2?
We're definitely training a lot smarter. It's more strategic training. Before, it was more like meathead style. Like go in the gym, do like balls to the wall every single day, and no rest days, nothing, going crazy, but no, not really any like rhyme or reason to what I was doing. I was just kind of going for maximum effort versus actually learning stuff. We kind of changed that up a little bit in that now we're adding skills. We're building skills. And I'm over with Team Oyama now. I'm with Classic Fight Team and over with Raw Talent Boxing. And all these dudes are taking a more like strategic approach to my game, which has clearly been paying off for the last 2 fights.
What was the adjustment period for you with the training, or was it easier to hear new voices and take what they were saying?
It was super easy, man. I've been with Classic and Raw Talent for a while, so the only new addition would be the Team Oyama, and all the guys over there are super cool, super supportive, and Coach Colin's been around forever, man. He's coached all the legends, so like it was easy for me to put my trust in him, just seeing like his body of work and all the results that he's got from his coaching methods.
The last 2 fights, both vicious first-round finishes. Heck, most of your 8 of 10 wins, vicious first-round finishes. Tell me about your fight style, why all these fights, and so quickly.
Still trying to figure it out myself now. Now, I'm a pressure fighter. I like being in people's face. I like playing in the pocket. I'm a boxer and a wrestler first before anything. So both those styles dictate high pressure, high volume, and that's what I like to output. So some people can't adjust within the fight, and we just end up catching them. But I like to put pressure on people and make them make mistakes. So pressure with patience, if you will.
It seemed like at LFA 30, at least, you didn't get hurt by the first strike that landed, and then you just walked down Maikon and blasted him. What was there more to it that the rest of us are missing?
I don't know. You seem very timid. I was expecting more. I was expecting to have to move around and kind of lead him into my strikes a little bit more, but he was more timid in the beginning. We caught him off of that overhand right off the bat, and then after that he was backing up, and he threw that one head kick, but it was more like he didn't really put a lot into it. It was more like a desperation shot, so it bounced off the arms and we were cool. But that was the only... Yeah, after that was just waited. He did the same exact strike. He kept dropping his hands, and we came over at the top again, and that just finished it.
And then you took the King of the Cage fight right after that. Was that another short notice one?
We had that one before we took the LFA fight. So we had a longer time knowing about that one, but same thing. It was like 3-week camp, 1-week weight cut. So,
and that fight lasted just under 3 minutes from what I'm seeing. What was that one like?
That was cool. I got to actually wrestle. This was one of the first fights I got to show off some of my wrestling and some of my top pressure. So that was really exciting for me. And, yeah, just show different aspects of my game. Like, I'm not just a striker. I could take it to the ground, too, and be successful. So that was exciting.
Was it kind of fun having that surprise element because you have the notoriety of standing and trading and wouldn't necessarily expect the takedown?
Yeah, definitely, man. He seemed more... Yeah, he didn't seem like he was expecting me to take him down or take a shot. So once I got in, it was like, yeah, it was not. I don't want to say like there wasn't a lot of effort or defense going into it because he expected me to stay on the feet. So it was cool.
We've seen this vicious power that you're displaying. When did you know that you had this gnarly power in both hands?
Man, I still don't think I punched that hard. I think I'm just accurate. So on amateurs, I was doing the same thing. I was hitting people, getting a lot of knockouts, but I still like to throw a lot of volume. I'm trying not to be the one-punch fighter. I'm trying to be a volume fighter with like a little bit of power, apparently. But I think I'm more just accurate than anything because I don't think I'm throwing that hard.
And I've heard enough coaches talking to their fighters that seems to actually be the secret to power, is throwing in flow, in technique.
Yeah, exactly, man. As soon as you start loading up on shots, is when you start getting caught. So as long as you're throwing it fluid, throwing it, like you said, in that flow state, which a lot of my coaches are working on. I have my boxing coach, Ernest Chavez, Chuy Gutierrez, and Tyler Wambos. We've been working the same things over and over, man. Staying in flow, staying heavy volume without actually loading up single shots, trying to kill the dude, just catching him when he makes the mistakes.
Over the last couple of years, you stay active. 3 fights, it seems like a year consistently. Are you still finding enough time in between fights to feel like you're evolving? As you're talking about the stuff you're working on, have you been able to adapt it easily while still consistently fighting?
Yeah, for sure, man. I don't know, some dudes will take a fight and then take like a couple weeks off, but if I fight on Saturday, I'm either at open mat on Sunday or back in the gym on Monday. So we don't have that period where we're like digressing in our training. So it's constant progression as far as we're constantly building on what we just did in the camp, and then we're evolving off of what we learned in the fight. So we don't take these breaks so we don't lose anything. We're not losing steps like most people are.
Also, I'm not sure if it's accurate what I'm looking at, but according to Tapology, the last 2 fights you've been in, this has been the move up to 170?
Yes, sir.
How much has that affected you?
Oh, it's awesome, man. I was able to keep the power coming up, too, which is great, but I feel a lot fresher in the fights. Mentally, I feel a lot better. I'm not so much stressed about making the weight. I'm able to skill build versus just weight loss during camp, which is a huge weight off of my back.
And then in the strength and conditioning realm, how has that changed now with having that extra 15 pounds?
Not too much has changed in that department. I've been doing the same stuff, but now I'm actually making weight, so that's the biggest difference.
Would you be one of those guys that hopefully we see the 165 weight class get open and become more? Would that be something up your alley?
Yeah, I would definitely be open to that. Same things, depends on what my coaches think, but 170 is a comfortable home for me now, and if 165 opens up, I wouldn't mind doing both.
Then we're going to see you back in that welterweight division at LFA 36. Ricardo Seixas is going to be the opponent, and for what I heard, he's really good on the ground. What do you think of this matchup?
Yeah, man. All the fights I've seen, all the ones he's finished is with Kimura from a takedown off the fence. It's very, he has a similar pattern to every single fight. And, he's tough black belt on top. Looks like he has good top pressure, but he's got to get the takedown to get me there first. He's got to get close enough. He's got to get by my hands, and he's got to get by my wrestling. So I feel confident in my game. I train with black belts, too. Like, I train with high-level college wrestlers. Like, I see this stuff in the gym every day. So it's nothing, like, he's not going to throw a surprise at me, I don't think, unless, like, someone else jumps in the cage. But it should be fine. Yeah, I feel good about this, man. I'm excited.
Does it feel like one of those fights where you just need to kind of stay focused?
Yeah, definitely. I just got to keep the game plan in mind. I can't get overzealous with my shots. and try and, like we were talking about earlier, I can't load up on the shots and I can't try and kill him because that's where the takedowns come in and that's where the counterattacks come in. So as long as I stay smart in the fight, then I feel like we should be fine.
Obviously, heading into the first LFA appearance at LFA 30, wanted that opportunity to make a big impression. Did you know going in, or did you feel it walking away, how big of a win that was?
Not really. I didn't feel it until later that night when my phone kept blowing up. I had to turn off all my notifications. They kept getting like reposted and tagged and stuff. Then all of a sudden everyone wanted to do interviews and stuff, which was kind of cool. But right when it happened, I was more excited. I was more excited that the shot actually landed. But I was a little upset because I hit him too hard, so I didn't get to do an interview in the cage after. That was the only downside.
With how you finish fights, do you almost sometimes, after the adrenaline of the victory wears off, you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize how much damage I actually did?
Nah, man. When you're in there, you see the eyes roll back. You see them, on the floor. So, I've seen people knocked out in the gym. I've hit enough people where I know they're pretty messed up when they get to the floor, but it's part of the game, man. If he could do the same thing to me, he would. So I'm more just, happy that happy that we got to do that.
Now, does a switch or does something change when the bell, when you're in that cage? Because I've seen a couple interviews now with you talking to you. There's an intensity that there seems to be in the fight. Like, you fight mean. Some people would like to do that, but you fight mean versus the mild-mannered kind of tone that you present yourself with.
Definitely, man. I spar the same way. If you ask my training partners, it's kind of the same. Anytime I'm fighting with someone, I treat it like a fight. I treat it like we're in an alley and scrapping, but it's just more technical. So anytime I'm in the cage with someone, it's just me and him. It's we're seeing who's the bigger man here. We're throwing down. So I take it back to that in my head, and that usually makes me more aggressive, makes me mean. But I don't know. I like to see myself as more composed, if you will.
And then I didn't even ask this at the beginning. How did you find your way to MMA?
I used to play hockey out in I used to play hockey all through high school, and I used to fight a lot on the ice. And then when I got back, I didn't want to play anymore, and my friend invited me to a cardio kickboxing class. And then as soon as I got in there, I saw the jiu-jitsu program, and I just fell in love. I never left the gym after that. Started a little bit more boxing, started jiu-jitsu, and then 8 years later, we're here.
And California is where you are now. Is that born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised in California, and then went to high school in New York for a couple years as well to play hockey.
Hockey was the first love?
Yeah, I played that for 10 years and then switched over to this. I used to still hit people, but it's not on ice.
So the fighting came natural?
Yeah, definitely, man.
Now, looking at LFA, being a part of this welterweight division, a stacked division, what do you think about being part of it?
I love it, man. I'm always looking for the people ahead of me, and I'm trying to catch up, man. A lot of these dudes have a lot of fights. A lot of these dudes are ranked above me, which I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to be the number one top dog in this. So it's cool to be and especially LFA is a big feeder into bigger organizations such as UFC. Saw Curtis Millender got picked up after that big head kick. So it's a lot of exposure with LFA that allows for us to get picked up on these last-minute fights, allows for the bigger organizations to recognize us and see talent in the lower divisions, if you will.
Definitely. Access TV, LFA having that ability, fighting in a cage that we are able to refer to as an octagon. It's a great feeder system and a special feeling. Do you kind of get that with the events, with the lead up to it?
There's definitely a noticeable difference between this and a more regional promotion. So, the show, the production that goes into these shows is a lot higher. So we get to see, the televised fights, the streamed weigh-ins. Everything's very organized, which I like. Sometimes, if you go to the more regional shows, they'll say weigh-ins are at 10. Weigh-ins are 2, and that's just frustrating. Or the fights will start late. But this is very regimented, organized. They have it like a machine. So I like that aspect of it most.
RFA, LFA, each time you've stepped into the octagon, it's been a quick finish. What's your expectations for Friday night?
Ideally, we would do the same, but we'll see what happens. He's a tough guy, man. I've seen him take big shots, so I'm assuming we're not going to just drop him right away. So same thing. Expect a violent fight, but I'm not going to call rounds. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Just going to kind of have to watch and see.
Of the 8 of the 10 first-round finishes that you've had, have you actually expected really to finish any of those fights earlier, or have they just happened? Have you always prepared for 15 long minutes?
Oh, we're ready for 5-5-minute rounds every single time, man. So if it does go these 3-5s, like, we're more than prepared to keep a high pace. But most of the time it just happens. Like, same thing, it's within a combination or within something we've been drilling. It's like we'll watch tape on our opponents and we'll just repeat actions over and over until they become habits, and then these habits just show off in the fight and end up paying dividends in the end.
We've talked a lot about fights. Do you have a favorite hobby outside of the fight world?
I like cooking a lot. So when I could actually eat, I like taking my time grilling something really nice and taking my time in the kitchen cooking. It's probably my favorite thing.
Do you have a specialty?
Bacon wrapped anything, man.
Bacon wrapped jalapenos.
Oh man, I'm gonna be starting. I'm hungry right now.
I don't want to push it, but I guess we'll add that to the list of things that you want on Saturday.
Right, that and a box of Oreos, and we'll be set.
That's the celebration dessert.
Yeah, man. I'm still working on my Nabisco sponsorship, but we'll see if that pulls through.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I just watched American Wrestler and Vision Quest before my last couple fights, and those ones are awesome. So they're moving into my top 2.
Nice. Great talking to you. And last but not least, Christian, did you have people that you needed to thank, shout out to, sponsors, trainers, coaches?
Yeah, there's another shout out to all my coaches, Tyler Wombles, Jesus Gutierrez, Ernest Chavez, Colin Oyama, Alex Perez, and all my training partners, Classic Fight Team, Team Oyama, 10th Planet, and Raw Town Boxing. All these dudes, same thing, blood, sweat, and tears. They give it to me, and I'm trying to give it back. So thanks to them. Access
TV this Friday night. Christian Aguilera against Ricardo Seixas, part of the LFA 36 card. Sir, thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you, man.